Hi folks, this is Karim Raouf from our IT Visualizer channel. We will continue our Lambda Matrix labs, the video number 61. We have been discussing in the previous video the following. We are still working with the Purple Knight Active Directory Security Assessment tool, which is a free tool you can download from their website, and it generates a report. We are now exploring this report and see the different results, the successful ones and the failure ones, or the one that we have not passed. Now we are currently focusing on the Active Directory infrastructure security assessment points, okay, or the tests concerning this section of the Active Directory or the infrastructure of the Active Directory. Now we are seeing this test, which is Group Management Service Account Objects with All Password. We all know that group managed service accounts are special accounts that are used to start services, and their password is generated automatically, and it is rotated or it is changed periodically or automatically every 30 days. So here is checking if there is any group managed service accounts, their password is not changed within 30 days. Okay, what if there is one, or if we have an account that, or a group management service account, that his password or its password is not changed every 30 days? Then we need to check if there is an evidence of tampering with our environment. Maybe there is a problem with the encryption key, or maybe there is a problem in the operating system. So we need to make sure that the group managed service accounts passwords are changed periodically, okay, or every 30 days. So this is one of the good things we need to focus on. And now he have checked, this test has checked all of our group managed service accounts, and he didn't see any account that its password is not changed every 30 days. And actually I don't have any group managed service accounts, so we have passed this test. One of the good things, when we asked the AI tools, I have asked it a simple prompt to give me an interactive explanation or interactive element, or to explain these two sections in an interactive way. So I found this result, which surprised me actually. If we go to Claude and see, when I asked it to, let me show you the prompt so you can use it, guys, later. If we go and let me go further and show you the prompt. So here I'm asking it to create an interactive diagram. So here we have two prompts. You can ask it to explain the text below using interactive elements, and this was the result. When I asked it to explain this or this text, sorry guys, I asked it to explain this description and the underneath text. When I asked it to explain it using interactive elements, he created this dashboard. If we show you all this one, so here we can see a very simple diagram. Here is having some group managed service accounts, and we can see here that he's saying that we have 10 days left until the rotation is done or the password is changed. And now we can see that it is the auto rotate is enabled, or the automatic changing is enabled. Okay, now he's simulating that one of these accounts have passed more than 60 days, and it's the auto rotate is disabled. If we tell him to rotate, now it is already changed. A very simple diagram, maybe explaining the idea in a very simple way. This is how to tell the AI to create or to describe the text in an interactive or using interactive elements. So let me show you all also another prompt. I asked it, or asked AI tool to let me show you something here. I asked it to create an interactive interactive diagram. So first I tell him to explain it using interactive elements, and then I ask it to explain it using interactive diagram. Let me show you all the next output here. Create interactive diagram. If we go there and see this one, very good explanation. Now he's explaining the components of the group managed service account password lifecycle. Now we, first of all, when I click on this one, this is all generated by Claude. Okay, very simple and interactive diagram. First of all, we need to, before using or creating this account in Active Directory, we need to have the key distribution root key, which is crucial for group managed service account password generation. It is shared across all domain controllers and used to drive GMSA password. And then when we create on that, Active Directory store GMSA objects and manage their life cycle. It is responsible for distributing GMSA password to authorized hosts. We will see what is authorized host. Now we go to the account, GMSA, the group managed service account itself. It is a special account type that automatically manages its own password. Then we have the password rotation. We say it is automatically changed every 30 days. This process is managed by Active Directory. The last one, which is authorized, only authorized computers can retrieve the password for GMSA. This is controlled by the principal allow to retrieve management attribute. Very simple diagram and interactive one. All of this is created by the AI. Very simple way. And I ask it to do something else here. First of all, this is the diagram, and then we have this description. And actually, all of these is listed here. If we click this one, I think he is describing this here. Okay, and actually, I like this way of describing and explaining. Okay, let me show you. I asked it to what I did to do. What I asked it. I asked it to have the same diagram, but attach what I need to attach. I need to attach these two text to the diagram, or I ask it actually to. Let me show you. Let me see here. If I put this one. So here I ask it to act. This text. It is already from this Purple Night test or Purple Night report. We can see here that now it is more illustrated. The indicator looks for group managed service account that have not automatically rotated their password. This password should be changed automatically every 30 days. Now, importance of automatic password rotation enhances security by regularly changing credentials, reduce the risk of compromised accounts, eliminate the need for manual password management. So as we can see here, we have a very good diagram and some bullet points explaining the test and why it is important. Ensure compliance with security practices, risks of non-rotating GMSA password, increase vulnerability to password cracking attempts, potential indicator of Active Directory replication issues. So one of the things, maybe there is a problem with replicating the password of the GMSA between the domain controllers. So we need to see the replication between the domain controllers. Many or may signal problems with key distribution, or there is a problem with the encryption key itself. Key distribution service okay could lead to service disruptions if manual intervention is required. So actually, if the GMSA account is not working, maybe some services will stop working. Recommended action: regularly audit GMSAs for password rotation compliance, investigate and resolve issues preventing automatic rotation, ensure proper configuration of KDS and Active Directory replication, the key and the replication, monitor for unauthorized changes to GMSA setting. Very good explanation and very professional one. As we can see here, we have all of the elements explained in a very good way. Okay, so this is when I ask Claude to generate an interactive explanation or use interactive elements to explain this test or the test that Purple Night have done concerning the GMSA accounts. So if we go there and take the same prompt, so we have two things here. If we go and get this one, okay, copy, and we go to ChatGPT, but I prefer to use the Canivus one because it has some writing and some diagramming capabilities. If we go there and ask it to do like that, and you explain using interactive elements, let's see what will be the result. So here he have given us a different answer. Here he is interacting, or when I tell him interactive elements, here he see that when he ask a question and you provide an answer, this is an interactive way. So okay, so we see here, imagine you are an IT administrator of a large company, are responsible for ensuring all accounts are secure. Task, you need to ensure that group managed service accounts are regularly updating their password. Normally, these accounts are designed to rotate their password every 30 days automatically, but what if some accounts are not doing this? Interactive questions. What are group managed service accounts? Click the correct answer. A service account managed by user. B, accounts used by service or applications with automatic password management. So we can see here, this is an interactive questions, okay? And we can go further. Why is automatic password rotation important? Drag the benefits. So here we can see that it's like drag and drop questions, but here we can see that these are all text. I need to make them visually. Okay, I need to see all of these visually. What happens if passwords aren't rotated, aren't automatically rotated? Select all that apply. Okay, simple situation. Imagine you are checking on your company GMSA and you noticed one account hasn't rotated its password for 45 days. This could mean that might be a configuration issue preventing the automatic rotation, or perhaps something has gone wrong requiring your manual intervention. So I need to do something here. Present all of these in a visual interactive elements, and let's see how this this can be done. If you go there, Flipkart. So again, he doesn't give us any something we can or any visual visual aids. Okay, so let's see if we tell him to create interactive diagram. So again, he doesn't create any diagram. He still is doing all of these. When I try to visualize these, so here you look like he's saying that I can visualize all of these. Okay, so he failed this test. Actually, I tried to do this using the other model, or the this model, which is the O1 preview. Let's see if I try to do the same. If I go there and get a new chat, okay, and try to give it the same prompt and see if I can make it give me visual aids. So here, as we can see here, he give us something like emojis, okay, and now he is explaining the topic. What are group managed service accounts? Why is automatic password rotation important? How does this indicator work? What should you use if passwords aren't rotating? And now he's explaining each one of these. But actually, uh, I have done a test, or I have done an experiment, and he gave me this. Okay, if I try to give you all of these, so we can see this is created by ChatGPT Kinevius. Okay, we can see here this is something related to the domain controllers and if they are out of sync. Okay, we can see, for example, here we have one of these domain controllers out of sync, reinstall. Now it is in sync. Remove. This is an interactive way. Show real world example. These are the steps. All of these are created by ChatGPT, but let me see if I can do this again, but let me go and uh, make a new or ask Kinevius and then make a new chat and then create interactive diagram explaining the following. And let's see if he can do this, because actually he did that before. If tell him to copy like that, and let's put it that way. So now this is what I'm talking about. Here he is creating an HTML file. Let me show you all how this works. So here he's saying I have created an interactive web diagram explaining the group managed service account and the password rotation process. Each element highlights an essential step and clicking on it reveals more details. Something like Artcraft. This is called Claude Artcraft, which is very, very good, by the way. And this Kinevius is the same. Let's see if I try to take this HTML and copy it code, and I have already this HTML file. I will edit it using Notepad. This is an HTML file. I will try to delete the content and paste it and then save. And let me show you all the results. So now we can see here, this is a very, very simple one. Step 1 GMSA overview. Group managed service accounts are used by services or applications, allowing them to securely run under managed credentials. Password rotation. Password rotation is a built-in feature for GMSAs. By default, this password should be changed automatically. Identify non-rotated passwords, addressing issues. As we can see here, very, very simple diagram to illustrate your point, but I think the one for Claude is much more visually appealing. If we try to tell ChatGPT to add, make it more appealing, make 3D visuals. Let's see if he can do something here. So all of these trials are just to show you how you can explain a topic using AI tools. I have updated the design to include 3D visual effects and more appealing interactive elements such as hover effects, shadows, and smooth transactions. Let's see when I try to tell it or try to see the result. If you go there and try to right click and edit, now we have Control A and delete, then Control V, and then try to save that. And now we can click on that. Now we can see maybe some visual effects, which is good. Rotation diagram. Okay. Well, it is good actually, but we need logos, or we need diagrams, or let me try to enhance it a little bit. I need let's see that I need how we can explain it in English. I need objects. I need draw objects to explain the topic. So explain this and make it more appealing. Okay, he's saying that to make the diagrams visually appealing, each step now features a 3D-like circular icon to enhance the appearance and improve engagements. I think even though it's good, but Claude is superb in this, or he is exceeding ChatGPT in this section. Let me try to see if we can have a more advanced. So what we mean by that? Okay, he's adding circles. No, this is not what I mean. Okay. Anyway, so as we can see here that this is a way that you can work with AI tools to explain a topic that you need. And by the way, as we can see here that Claude is having a more appealing explanation. Okay, you can ask it to port it to another language. Maybe you need it to be in Python. Maybe fix bugs. Let's see here to fix bugs. If this is something. If there is any bugs, this will enhance the script a little bit. So you can do this by fix bugs. He will try to recode the whole script or the whole HTML content to make sure that it's more operational. I reviewed the code and fixed the potential issue where the description element could be null if the element was not found. The update code ensures the element is checked before attempting to modify its content. Anyway, so this is a good way that you can ask the AI tools to explain a topic here. Let's go and continue with the other tests. So this is one thing, GMSA password rotation issue. Then domain controllers that have not authenticated to the domain for more than 45 days. I think I have showed you all ChatGPT and the diagram that he generated. So here is saying that the domain controllers must authenticate and change their computer password account every 30 days. We have discussed this issue before. So every user has a password and every computer has a password. Here he's talking about the domain controller should authenticate or should be online and authenticating to other domain controllers. This is one thing, and their computer password account should be changed every 30 days. Lack of domain authentication reveals outsync machines, domain controllers must be either reinstalled or removed. We have seen this. I have showed you all the script, or I showed you all the diagram explaining this topic. Okay, so here is checking if there is any offline domain controllers or any domain controllers that are not in sync. Or here, I think in sync here is referring to the replication, and especially the password or the computer or the domain controller computer password replication. Okay, this is one thing we need to make sure, and he's giving us a way to resolve an issue if one of your domain controllers is out of sync. Maybe it is have been closed for some time, maybe more than 30 or 40 days. So you can boot it up, and then there is a way to make it syncing again or to replicate normally with the other domain controllers, but using a utility called djoin utility. Okay, and this is a utility very famous one, that will do something. It will what it need to do, it will rejoin, or it will do something like rejoining the domain controller to the domain. So he is simply what he's doing now. If you have an out of sync domain controller, you will reinstall the domain controller from the beginning and join it to the domain through something called djoin utility. Okay, so let's see also what is the djoin utility. I have already asked the AI tools to give us a brief about the djoin utility. Anyway, so here he's checking for any out of sync domain controllers. If there is any domain controllers that are not replicating maybe for more than 45 days, their computer password is not changed for more than 45 days. So if their computer password is not changed for more than 45 days, then there is two things. If it is offline, okay, or there is a problem with the password or the computer password change for the domain controller. Domain controllers are not active in the domain would likely be out of sync with functional DCs, and therefore a compromised offline DC may be of a little value to an attacker. However, if an attacker could compromise an offline DC and crack elements or reconnect to the domain, they may be able to introduce unwanted changes to production AD that could compromise its security. So this is also one of the good important things, to make sure all of the domain controllers are online and their computer password is changing. If we go here and see Claude explaining this topic, let me show you all. Here is the one of the things also, domain controller authentication dashboard. Here we have we see a simulation. We have 3 domain controllers. One of them is out of sync. We have 40 or 41 days out of sync, and we have one thing, to remove it from the network and reinstall it back, or to re-authenticate. Or here to re-authenticate, here he means that you have two things, to remove it completely from the domain and reinstall it back, or to reinstall it back, or authenticate. Here I mean by authenticate, to reinstall and then authenticate it again. So we can see also a very, very simple diagram and actually very, very catchy one. If we go to another explanation here, ask it to explain it in interactive elements, and then ask it to explain it using a diagram. If we go further, let me show something here. Here is, I think I make already a domain controller dashboard. I think I didn't tell it to explain it. Let me see the last one here. Okay, so here is, let me give it, here we go. Let me tell him create interactive diagram, and let's see if he gives us a good diagram. Okay, so here is the message exceed one. If we go, let me copy it and open a new chat. If you go there and start a new chat, and we can do simple thing. Let's go and ask or take this thing as a whole. Okay, copy, and we can go to chat or to Claude, create an interactive diagram to explain this topic. Okay, let me do something here. Explain using layman terms to explain it in a non-technical terms or simple words terms, and create an interactive diagram to explain this topic. If you go there and put like that and do like that and take this prompt, Control C, and then give it to Claude and see how this will go. So as we can see, this is the process of creating the diagram. So let me show you all. First, the explanation. Let's go and see the explanation of Claude. He is saying that domain controllers are like security guards of a computer network. They need to prove who they are, authenticate, and change their password regularly, at least every 30 days. Okay. If a DC doesn't check or change its password, it's like a security guard who hasn't shown up for work in a while. This is called out of sync. So now he's explaining it in very, very simple terms. When a DC is out of sync, the network administrator have two choices: to reinstall it, like retraining the security guard, or remove it, like firing the security guard. When reinstalling an out of sync DC, it's important to be careful not to accidentally give it too much power or access. It's like making sure a retrained security guard doesn't accidentally get the master key to everything. Okay, to safely reinstall a DC, they recommend using a special tool called djoin. We will see djoin. What is a djoin tool? While an out of sync DC might not be immediately useful to a hacker, like a security guard who can't get into the building, they still have some risk. If a hacker could somehow use this out of sync DC to crack password or sleekly reconnect it to a network, this might cause trouble. Now let's see here the diagram. Okay, saying domain controller status. Status is synced days since last password change 0. If we go to the next day, now we have since last password change we have 1, next day 2, 3, 4, synced day 4, day 5, day 6. Maybe I think we can pass until 30 days. If we go more than 30 days, let's pass it 30. Oh, now we have problem. Very, very intelligent diagram. So we have now our DC doesn't change its password for more than 30 days. What we need to do? Please reinstall or remove the DC to maintain network security. What we need to do? We can remove it or reinstall. So now we have it reinstalled. Okay, so let's do another thing again here. If we go to 30 days, okay, let's pass it to 30 days. Now we have 31 days. You need to install or remove the domain controller. If you tell him to remove the DC, now we have it completely removed. So very, very simple and good diagram to explain the topic of DC not synced or an unsynced DC. If we go and try to ask ChatGPT to do the same, if we tell him like this one and give the same prompt, I have already showed you the diagram created by ChatGPT, but let's go and do this again. So here, this is also an HTML file. Actually, they need to upgrade or to do something with this Canvas option, because Claude have more options, or it is more appealing to me. If we go there and try to do the same or create an HTML file, and then we can do Control A and then Control V. Let's see what will be the output if you go there and close this one and try to open it. So we can see here also, again, very, very simple but not that appealing. Domain controller change password every 30 days. This keep the network secure but ensuring that no passwords are out of date, out of sync. Okay, so anyway, I can see that ChatGPT is not exceeding, or here you need to catch with Claude, because Claude has a more appealing interface. Okay, so an appealing diagrams, by the way. So let's see or continue with the other tests. So now we can see the djoin actually is a very, very simple tool. If you go there and let me show you all what is the djoin utility. If you go there, what is the djoin utility and how to use it? Okay, djoin is a command line utility introduced with Windows Server 2008 R2 and Windows 7, designed to facilitate the process of joining computers to an Active Directory AD domain without requiring a direct connection to the domain controller. So this is an offline joining process of a PC to the domain. Okay, domain controller, of course, when it is offline. Okay, this capability is particularly useful in scenarios where network connectivity is limited or when you are setting up multiple machines in bulk. Key features: offline domain join allows the computer to be joined to a domain without contacting the domain controller at the time of joining. Automation simplifies the deployment of multiple machines by enabling batch processing. Okay, flexibility can be used in various environments, including virtual machines and branch offices. How to join or how to use djoin utility. Using djoin involves two main steps: provisioning the computer account and then requesting the offline domain join. Here is how you can execute these steps. This step creates a computer account in Active Directory and generates a provisioning file containing the necessary data. So here is the djoin thing. Okay, so you can here is the command to join a computer to the domain when the domain controller is not available. Okay, and giving you the syntax. Every one of these contains something: the domain, then the machine, then the OU that the computer will be in or will reside in or will be put in. Okay, the domain controller name. Okay, reuse an existing computer if it is there. If there is the same computer and you are join it or rejoin it again, resetting its password. And here is an example. Okay, the domain controller, so and so and so, so and so and so. Okay, so here you can see the domain controller, the machine account, the safe. Request joining. So this is the command. Step requesting, or this step takes the generated file. So first you need to generate a file. Okay, and this file after that is being executed. Just a moment, guys. So let's continue, guys. Here is the step, or the first step is to create a file. This file, I think, will contain the data concerning the machine that will join the domain name, the machine name, all of this in a text, and then this is the process of joining the PC to the domain. This step takes the generated file and applies to the target machine, effectively joining it to the domain. Okay, so we can see here, this is the step, and then here is the syntax. And after executing the second command, restart the destination computer. Upon reboot, it will automatically join the specified domain using the information contained in the provisioning file. Okay, ensure that all necessary group policies, certificates, or additional configuration are applied. Okay, so this is good. One thing here, this thing or this text saying that we need to join the domain control, so reinstall the domain controller from scratch, and then he's saying care must be taken not to introduce a new owner control path exposing its computer account. To avoid doing so, use djoin. So I think here he will reinstall the domain controller with the same name, and then he will not join it in the normal way. He will join it using the djoin utility. Why is that? He's saying that not to introduce a new owner control path. I think I need to have some explanation concerning this text. Let's ask ChatGPT to explain it further. If we go there and ask to I think I need to have it in a new text. Tell him explain this topic, and then we can put this there, and let me put it in a real world scenario. Explain this topic using real world example matrix dot internal has 3 DCs, 2 are are synced, and 1 is out of sync. Let's see how he will have, or how he'll explain this topic using this real world scenario. So let's see here the answer of okay, here is the okay, so here is an example, but let me read it loudly. Let's see how we will explain this topic.
Understanding out-of-sync domain controllers, a real-world example. Imagine a company called Matrix.Internal that operates with 3 domain controllers, DCs, DC1, DC2, and DC3. These domain controllers are servers that manage security authentication requests within the company's Active Directory AD domain, such as user logins and permissions. The situation: DC1 and DC2 are functioning correctly and are synchronized with each other. They regularly authenticate with the domain, update their passwords, and replicate directory information. DC3, however, has not authenticated or synchronized with the domain in over 30 days. This means it's out of sync with DC1 and DC2. Why does this happen? By default, machine accounts in an Active Directory domain, including domain controllers, are configured to change their passwords every 30 days. If a DC doesn't authenticate and change its password within this period, perhaps due to being offline, network issues, or misconfigurations, it becomes out of sync. Risks of an out-of-sync domain controller. 1. Security vulnerabilities. An out-of-sync DC may have outdated security policies or missing critical updates, making it susceptible to exploits. If compromised, an attacker could use it to gain unauthorized access or introduce malicious changes when reconnected. 2. Replication issues. Inconsistent directory information can lead to authentication failures for users and services relying on DC3. Conflicting data can cause errors and degrade the overall performance of the domain. 3. Potential for unauthorized control paths. Reintroducing DC3 without proper precautions could expose its computer account, creating new avenues for attackers to exploit. Recommended actions for Matrix.Internal. 1. Remove or reinstall DC3. Removal. If DC3 is no longer needed or is too outdated, it should be properly decommissioned to eliminate any security risks. Reinstallation. If DC3 needs to be retained, it should be reinstalled to ensure it aligns with the current domain configurations. 2. Use the join utility. When reinstalling DC3, using the join tool is advised. This utility allows offline domain join, which helps securely add the DC back to the domain without exposing sensitive credentials or creating new owner control paths. How join helps. Secure joining. Join creates a computer account in the domain before the actual joining process, reducing the risk of credential exposure. Automated process. It simplifies the joining process, especially for remote or offline machines, ensuring they are correctly configured from the start. Likelihood of compromise. An offline or out-of-sync DC like DC3 might seem less valuable to an attacker at first glance. However, credential cracking. Attacker attempt to extract and crack credentials stored on DC3. Malicious reconnection. If an attacker compromises DC3 and reconnects it to the domain, they could introduce unauthorized changes, backdoors, or malware into the production AD environment. Preventative measures for the future. Regular monitoring. Implement monitoring tools to alert administrators when a DC fails to authenticate or synchronize within the expected time frame. Routine audits. Conduct periodic audits of all domain controllers to ensure they are up to date and compliant with security policies. Network segmentation. Isolate out-of-sync or suspect DCs from the main network until they are verified or decommissioned. Conclusion. In the matrix.internal example, keeping all domain controllers synchronized is crucial for maintaining the security and integrity of the Active Directory domain. Out-of-sync DCs like DC3 present potential security risks that can be exploited by attackers. By promptly addressing synchronization issues and following best practices, such as using tools like join when reinstalling, a company can safeguard its network against unauthorized access and maintain smooth operational continuity.
So here I need to explain or need to know something. What is creating a new owner control pass? Explain the part So what he mean by creating new owner control passes? Okay, let's see here. When managing Active Directory environment, especially during the installation of domain control, it's crucial to understand how certain actions can inadvertently create security vulnerabilities. One such vulnerability is the creation of new owner control passes. Let's dive into what this means and how using the djoin utility prevents this issue. Okay, here is talking about owner pass refers to the sequence of permission and ownership in Active Directory that can be exploited to escalate privileges or gain unauthorized access. In AD, every object like user, computer, and group have an owner and a set of permissions, dedicating who can access or modify it. Okay. If a less secure or compromised account because of the owner of a critical object like a DC computer account, it can be stepping stone for attackers to gain higher privileges within the domain. If a less secure or compromised account becomes the owner of a critical object, so he's referring to here the owner path is the path to the domain controller computer object. So let me read it in this one. Okay, when installing DC, run this utility offline domain join, which helps securely add the DC back to the domain without exposing sensitive credentials. So when you are joining a DC to the domain, I think there is sensitive username and passwords are needed for this process. So we will not expose them or creating new owner control path. So here he's saying that he will not create a new domain controller Active Directory domain controller computer Active Directory object. I think he will use the same existing domain controller computer object. I think here. Let's see here what this means. How to reinstall DC can create new owner control paths. Default ownership assignment. When a domain controller is reinstalled and joined back to the domain using standard methods, the account performing the join operation becomes often the owner of the DC computer account in AD. I think when I am joining a DC to the domain, this process is done with the local administrator account or the domain admin account. If the account is a regular user account or a lower privilege admin account, it introduces a new control path where the account has an undue influence over the DC account. So he's seeking that the owner of the computer object or domain controller computer object should be, I think, the domain admin. So or the domain admin. So here I think you should join the DC using the domain admin account. If you do this using a regular account, then he will be the owner of the DC computer object, which is a very, very dangerous thing to do. And actually, you should close this point. You should not make regular users join PCs to the domain. This is also one thing. Even he can join a domain controller to the domain. This is very, very critical. Okay, so you should not give regular users the permission to join PCs or servers to the domain. Okay, so this is one thing. A potential for privilege escalation. If an attacker compromises the account that owns the DC computer account, they can manipulate the C. Okay, so the new control path didn't exist before and provide attackers with a new avenue to. So here he will rejoin the DC to the domain. Okay, using the existing computer account. So he will not create a new DC computer account. He will rewrite, or he will join the domain with the existing computer account. Okay, so it is not removed from the Active Directory. He will rewrite or will use the same DC computer account. So let's go further and see exposure of sensitive data. Traditional domain join may require transmitting credentials over the network, so djoin will do this offline, so you will not see the credentials transmitted over the network. Okay, this will be in a text file, and we will use it to join the DC to the domain. Risk associated with new owner controller pass. So he's talking about this one. Djoin is a command used to join a computer domain without network connectivity to the domain controller during the initial join operation. Use an offline domain join blob, which contains the necessary information to join the domain. The advantages: by using djoin, you can pre-create the computer account in Active Directory with the appropriate ownership and permissions. This ensures the ownership of the DC computer account remains with a highly privileged and secure account. So in the text file that will contain the data that will join the DC to the domain, you can use the domain admin credentials. So this will ensure that the one joining the DC to the domain is the domain admin or a high privilege account. Reduced credential exposure. Since the domain join is performed offline, there is no need to transmit sensitive credentials over the network. The domain admin credentials, minimizing the risk of interception. The credentials used to create the domain offline domain join blob are kept secure on the domain controller, are not exposed during the process. Very, very good answer. And here is you talk about the real world example. Scenario without djoin. An administrator installs DC3, the one is out of sync, and join it to the domain using standard online method, not the djoin. The admin account, perhaps a delegated admin or a service account, becomes the owner. So this is not the domain admin, maybe a normal or a junior IT or a service account. If this account is compromised, attacker have a control pass to manipulate DC. So a new owner, okay, the account owning the DC is considered the new owner and may be compromised. If you compromise that account, you can compromise the DC computer account. Scenario is djoin. Here you are identifying that the one joining the C is the domain admin. So here, and domain admin pre-creates DC computer account in the AD with the correct ownership and security setting. The djoin is used to generate an offline domain join blob for DC3. DC is joined the domain offline, ensuring the ownership remains with a secure high privilege account. Okay, this is the one. No new owner paths are introduced. So now I can understand this text concerning new owner control paths. I didn't understand before. Benefits of using djoin. Okay, so he is saying the benefits. Practice to avoid creating new owner paths. So here he's repeating the same process, or repeating his explanation again. Conclusion. Okay, so I think this answer is a very, very good one. Okay, I think we can go and pass it to we can ask Claude the same answer if we tell him to get it to the real world example here. Let's see Claude how he'll explain it. So now I think we can go and see the answer of Claude concerning this topic. So now he will create a diagram. This is a good thing here. We can see here that This is the diagram concerning the process of rejoining and dejoining the domain. We can see this is matrix internal network. DC1 is synced, DC2 is synced, DC out of sync. Action required, reinstall using djoin, remove from the network. This is a very good brainstorming or a very good logical diagram. DC out of sync, potential risk, credential cracking, unauthorized reconnection, network compromisation. Very good example and simple to understand. If we go and see the scenario, here he is talking about this one. Matrix is a mid-sized company with 3 domain controllers managing their network security. Let's call them DC1, DC2, DC3. DC1 and DC2 are synced. DC is out of sync, hasn't authenticated or changed its password over 30 days. So the situation is to DC1 and DC2 has diligently authenticated and changing the password every 30 days. Sync this like 2 security guards would check in regularly and change their access code monthly. Out of sync DC. DC hasn't authenticated or changed its password in over 30 days. This is like a security guard who hasn't shown up for work or updated their access code in over months. Identifying the problem, the IT team at Matrix internal noticed DC isn't authenticating. Okay, this is similar to security company realizing one of its guards hasn't checked in for a while. Okay, as for the action required, Matrix IT team has now 2 choices. Reinstall, you can see from the diagram, retain and update security guard, remove it, fire the security guard. Careful reinstallation. If they choose to reinstall DC, they need to be careful. They should not use tool. They should use a tool called djoin to safely bring DC3 back online. It's like retraining the security guard, but not making sure, but making sure they don't accidentally get more access. They get more access than they should. Potential risk. Okay, a hacker can use this situation. However, okay, so this would be so and so possible consequences, and we can see here summary. In the real-world example, Matrix intelligence need to decide how to handle DC quickly to maintain the security of the network. They should either safely reinstall it using the djoin utility or remove it from the network entirely. Leaving it out of sync state for an unintended period could potentially create a security vulnerability an attacker might exploit. Okay, so give me technical steps using djoin utility to rejoin DC3. Let's see what will be the steps. We have already seen Perplexity giving us the answer. So if you go also again to ChatGPT to give it the same question, if you go there and tell him like this one, here you go, and now we can see. Now I think he's giving us a diagram as well, so we can see the Articraft is working fine. Here he's giving us the steps. First of all, where is the steps? Okay, so here he is giving us first of all, we are starting on working DC to ensure we are using current trusted domain information. Djoin command creates a provisioning file for DC3. This file contains necessary information for DC to rejoin the domain. Transferring this file securely is crucial to prevent any tampering. 4 to 6 these steps perform offline domain join to DC. This allows DC to join the domain without being on the network. I think we can read it from here. If we go there and give it, or we can make it appear in, let me make it more, can we make it more appearing? So here, open elevated prompt using djoin, this is the command. Okay, provision file, then transfer the file to DC3. Okay, copy the file to DC3 and then open DC. On DC3 we will open an elevated command prompt. Run the following command. restart. Then after restart, we will promote this server to be a domain controller, allow replication, verify DC status. Very, very good example. Create an interactive diagram. So let's see here how we can put this to be in a diagram to see how this will we can unexpected constraints. Okay, let's see here he's talking about the djoin version. No, I think here he didn't create the diagram again. Until it finishes, if you go there and see the steps, so now we can see the steps of the rejoining or the DC or djoin. Sorry, we can see these are the steps, very, very detailed one. So we can see here promoting the server, and then so but before I think we need to, okay, so this is step 4. Step 1 is to, okay, so this is a very, very good and detailed one. Actually, I think better than Claude. So we can see here the steps. I think it's a very, very good one. But let's see first the one concerning. Okay, so here we can see this is just one moment. Can go there and see. Here we can see that we need to have administrative privileges. You have domain admin credentials, access to functional DC, access to one of the synchronized domain controllers, DC1 or DC2, DC join utility available on server installations, network connectivity, ensure that DC3 can communicate with other domain controllers. After rejoining, it's recommended to back up your Active Directory before making significant changes. Steps, cleaning up DC references, very, very good one. I think it's more detailed than the other one. Create up existing DC references in Active Directory, pre-create DC computer account using djoin as a functional DC, prepare DC for offline DC join, perform the offline DC join on DC3, promote DC to a domain controller, verify replication and functionality. So before rejoining the DC, ensure that any existing references is to be removed. You need to see the computer object. If you go to the domain controllers OU, locate and delete DC3, then clean up the data concerning this computer, clean up metadata using ntdsutil, and here is the commands. Okay, as we can see here, we will remove the selected server, replace number of your domain, number of your site, number of your DC with the appropriate numbers listed, displayed in the list. So we need to make sure to remove any data concerning the DC3 before reinstalling it or before reinstall and joining it again. Remove DNS records, okay, verify removal. So this is a complete decommission, but I think here he's referring to the DC3 that it is not operational, so you cannot demote it. Okay, it's offline for a while, and we cannot do anything, or it is maybe broken, maybe so we cannot access it anymore. So we need to make a fresh installation and remove the old DC3 records. Okay, then here is the steps. Pre-create DC account using djoin, so we can see the credentials. So this is joining the DC to the domain using the DC join or djoin. Then perform a clean installation. So here is the offline joining, and then here is the clean installation of DC3 and promoting it to be perform a clean installation Windows Server on DC3. Do not join it to the domain during installation. Transfer the provisioning file. Okay, and then open the command prompt and joining it to the domain. Okay, and then promote the server to be a domain controller. Very, very good thing here. As we can see, you can use command prompt or use the graphical interface. Verify replication using these commands. Verify DNS functionality. Confirm Active Directory is appearing in the OU, domain controllers. Review event logs. Additional time is synced. Very, very good. Firewall. Sure over the network. Global catalog. Sure should be a global catalog. Selecting your promotion. Backup. Only as phone secure, not expose, monitor, conclusion. Perfect answer. Let's wait for a moment. So let's continue, guys. As we see, as I can see here, the answer of ChatGPT 01 is very, very detailed and can be used as a reference actually to do the process of dejoining or recreating the DC from the beginning. Very, very good example. Very, very good explanation. And actually, if I try to see the steps of Claude, here I ask it to give me the steps in details. Let me see here where is the steps here. So so he given me a couple of things here. Let's see here the diagram, which actually seems to be very, very good. Here is DC synced, out of sync. So let's continue. As we can see here that he's given us the steps. Transfer file to DC. This is the first one. Create a provisioning file. Then transfer file to DC3. Offline join DC to the domain. Restart the DC. Promote DC to domain controller. Allow application verify. So if we go next step, transfer files. Where is the steps? Okay, if you go further, next step, next step, next step, next step, next step, and I think here this is a very, very good one. Even though the steps are not, can I have the steps? Let's see if steps to rejoin the domain. Let's see here with where are the steps. So here are the steps. So here he didn't say that we should clean up the Active Directory from DC trails before using the join or dejoin utility. So I think this is not a complete answer, but I think we can add something to. Let's include technical detailed technical steps with the diagram. So let's continue, guys. Here we can see that now the diagram is completely, or we can see here that it is very, very good. Here we have the step, and here the title, and then we have the step. If we go and tell him next step, Now we can see very good example or a very good illustration. If you can see here every step of the way, we can see how everyone is included. Okay, but I think it's the other one of ChatGPT o1 is more detailed. Next, okay, so we can see the steps, every part of the way, and then next, and now we can see that now it is synced completely. Very good illustration, and actually the one point I take on this explanation is it is not as detailed as ChatGPT. Let me do something here just to make something here. If we go and get this illustration, okay, let's copy it as a whole, copy and tell him modify the diagram with these data. So let's see if we can combine both answers to see a good answer. So there is a problem here. Let's see if we can solve it. We'll tell him try fixing. And then I have all my messages ended. Let's see if we can get a diagram that is beautiful and an explanation which is detailed. So now we can see that it successfully added the steps that I need. First of all, we have ensure your domain you have admin credentials, verify access to functional DC, good, confirm the join utilities available, check network connectivity, backup Active Directory. This is the first step. Very good answer actually. If we tell him the next step, to remove DC computer account from ADUC, clean up metadata using NTCL, but here he is not getting the complete details. Remove DNS records, verify removal. Okay, so I think a good thing, but he didn't get us all of the details. If we tell him next, okay, recreate, prepare for perform, offline, disjoin, promote, verify, additional considerations. So I think even though it is not what I need, but it's good. This can be used in conjunction with, so you can print these details and you have this diagram to illustrate it. Very good example. So I think we will stop at this test. So we have the domain controllers, or we will stop at this point. The next point we will discuss LDAP signing is not required on domain controller. So LDAP is a very important protocol to communicate with the Active Directory. It should be secure and signed. So you should use LDAP-S for secure connection between the client and the domain controller, or the client and the Active Directory, and signing the data transmitted between the client and the Active Directory. We should have LDAP signing. So we will stop at this point and continue the upcoming video. Hope this video is informative for you all. Thank you all for viewing. Thank you so much.